our story that we would love to unpack some of the truths that are packed in this story of this woman. If I were to title this story, I would title it Dealing with Personal Issues. Dealing with personal issues. Because this story informs us that this woman had a personal issue. Something she had to deal with all by herself. Life has a way of ushering in issues.
Yes, it does. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And sometimes they usher in not public issues, but personal issues. Those issues that we go to bed with, we rise with, and we go throughout our day with the issue. Even though we mix and mingle with others and friends and families, yet no one around us knows that we have a personal issue that we're dealing with. When the issue is public, perhaps there are families and friends who would come and give their advice and offer some assistance and help. But when the issue is personal, where do you go? Where do you run? Who can you talk to? Because there are some issues you just don't want to share with everyone. Everyone cannot keep a secret. And as soon as you tell them, don't share this with anyone, then your issue becomes public. The issue is a problem, difficult. Great or small, rich or poor, learned or unlearned, if you please, all who are birthed into this life, at some point will encounter some issues. How do we work our way through life's issues? How do we cope with them? When we look around in this society, we see that many people are going off the deep end because they cannot handle, they cannot cope, they don't want to cope with life issues. Many of our young people, like many adults, are traveling down uncharted territory and territory that they cannot turn around and go back because they don't want to deal with their issues. But when we examine this woman in this text, the text would tell us that it is a certain woman. In other words, any of us here this morning can put our name right there. Because it was just a certain woman who had a personal issue. Examining her predicament, this woman had a hidden need, a burden that she lived with for 12 long years. I don't know about you, but sometimes the burdens that I carry just for 2 days is too long. Yes, sir. And sometimes just the hours are too long. The minutes are too long. 12 long years. This issue bound up inside of her, not only physically, but she had to cope with this emotionally. Affected her physically, it affected her socially, and in a sense it also affected her spiritually. Her predicament caused her to lose blood. She was hemorrhaging. Here, looking at her physical condition, it is impossible to lose blood for 12 years and not have that blood replenished and still continue to live. It's impossible, but how many of you know Jesus said, what's impossible with man is possible with God. And sometimes God will allow our issue to go to the extreme so he can step in right on time. Sometimes when we feel like that we're at the end of our road, we're at the end of our issue, and it seems like there is no help, no way out, all of a sudden God shows up. I'm a living witness this month. I'm not afraid to say I have had some issues in my life that I felt like there was no way out, but just as soon as I thought everything was over, God showed condition of this blood flow put a stress on her body. Dealing with this thing. No help anyway. Not only from the physical side, but her social life had been cut off. She could not live in this day and time of what we would call a normal life. Under the Levitical law in Leviticus chapter 15, her issue made her what they called ceremonially unclean. No social relationship for this woman. She could not be touched, and no one was able to touch her if they had known about her condition. My brothers and sisters, if anyone touched this woman, it was almost as if she would be a leper, and they would have to be considered unclean. And they would have to walk away until the evening time, and under the law, they would have to wash themselves from top to bottom in order to be clean and permitted back into the fellowship. She was treated as an outcast. And I tell you something, being treated as an outcast, there's one thing that I think affects everyone. No one wants to feel rejected. It's difficult when you have been rejected. It's hard to make it through life when you have been rejected. Many people struggle every day because they have been rejected by the family, rejected by friends, rejected by society, and they're wondering, what can I do? Not only was this woman here rejected by society and cast away, she could not be allowed in the synagogue. Worship was something she would have to do on her own. She could not mix and mingle with others when it came to worship. And I tell you, my brothers and sisters, I don't know about you, but I can only worship so much by myself. I get a joy being around the saints. I get happiness by being around the saints. See, that's why the church is called a family. And you ought to be able to go to your family. And I know. For many, that's not possible, but it's a joy to be able just to go and to connect and to worship with the family. She could not worship, but she was called defiled by many. She would be considered as being destitute, and now she's in a desperate situation. In other words, she had issues. We want to look at the first thing is that this woman did not allow her predicament to finalize her position. And sometimes we must be careful that when we're in a certain predicament and dealing with certain issues, don't allow that situation to finalize your position. In other words, as someone once said, it's not over till God says it's over. If God has not counted you out, don't count yourself. Don't worry about what people say. People will have opinions even when you're gone, but if God has not given up on you, don't you give up on yourself. She did not allow this predicament to finalize her position. And her predicament said that she had an issue. But she didn't take that position 12 long years. Dealing with this emotionally, dealing with this physically, dealing with this mentally. Every day was a struggle for her. But you know what? She got up every morning ready to meet the struggle. So when we get up in the morning, we ought not get up with a frown on our face. Get up ready to meet the struggle. Because if you don't get ready to meet the struggle will overcome you. And the last time I read in my Bible tells me that we are more than conquerors. Not just conquerors, but more than conquerors. The predicament said that medicine had failed her. But she didn't take that position. And sometimes, my brothers and sisters, no matter where we go, we can go to doctor after doctor. And I've seen it where doctors have examined patients and they say, we can't find anything wrong. But when you walk out of that doctor's office, you still have pain. You still have problems. You still have issues. And many times, and I'm not bothering anybody, many times the doctor wants to prescribe medication. Lord have mercy. And I believe in doctors. And I believe in medication. But sometimes they prescribe medication so they can prescribe more medication. For an issue that they cannot really solve. My daughter works in the education system, and she had shared with us a story about one of the students, several of the students in a classroom, and they were very hyper. And my daughter, she has a gift of working with children. And some of the parents were talking about putting the children on certain medication. Nothing's wrong with that if it's needed. My daughter, this particular child, said, well, you do what you want to, but the child don't need medication. What the child needs is more of a challenge. Because what we're doing right here is actually boring to the child. And when the child gets bored, the mind gets active. And when the mind gets active, they begin to act out. Sometimes, my brothers and sisters, we're feeding them with things when we need to give them more of a child.
All right.
Medicine could not help this woman.
Couldn't help her.
Because it said she went from doctor to doctor. But she did not take the position that she could not be healed. Every morning she still got up, ready to meet the challenge. Not only did her predicament say that medicine had failed her, but her predicament also said that she was broke. But she didn't take that position. And I don't know about you, but when I'm broke, I'm talking about me, but when I'm broke, my attitude is bad. You don't have to bother me. You don't have to say anything. But when I don't have any money in my pocket, my attitude gets bad. It don't take much to be broke. Just don't have no money. But in spite of what the doctors had told her, in spite of depleting her, not only her checking, if you please, but her savings account. I believe in 12 years, if she was here today, that she would have even went into her 401k. And you know you're desperate when you go to your 401k. Times are very hard. She spent all that she had. Savings were depleted. Body aching with pain. Health deteriorating day by day. But she didn't take the position that she was broke and helpless. So sometimes we need to change the way we think. Problems are here. They are inevitable. They're going to be here whether you want them or not. So we may as well get up. If I may say it like that. And remember God's word. That if God be for us, that's enough right there. I don't need the other part that says it's there. He's more than the world against us. But when I just get to thinking about if God be for me, that helps me want to go on. See what the end is going to be. Same thing is that her desire was bigger than her issue. Sometimes we allow our issues to get too inflamed in our mind, to be too large. When the issues, when the problems in life become too large, then they block our spiritual sight of God. But she did not allow this to happen. Her desire was bigger than her issue. Note in verse 27, it said, when she had had Jesus, watch this, comma, Paul. because something is happening right here before you can go to the next thing. This comma separates the two. It didn't say that Jesus was passing by. But it did say that she had of Jesus. Whatever she had about Jesus, she believed the report. We believe a lot of things, and sometimes the things that we believe is not even true. Sometimes we believe reports from people that we know that don't have any sound credibility. But we'll still believe the report. Yes, I know that there is no earthly good in them, but we'll believe their report. This woman believed what she had about Jesus. And I want to let you know this morning, whatever you hear about Jesus, you can believe the report. He left a track record of who he is, how awesome he is, and what he has done. And if we look back over in our lives, we can look at the track record he left in our lives. Isaiah asked a question in Isaiah 53. He says, who? Meaning anyone. Who has believed our report? If God says that he's God, believe the report. If he's Jehovah Shammah, the Lord is present, believe the report. If Jesus said in his word that all things are possible to them who believe, believe the report. If it tells us that he took 2 fish, 5 barley loaves, opened up a supermarket, with 2 fish, 5 barley loaves, had something left over so they could take back home. Believe the report. If it said he rose again on the 3rd day, so we would have a right to the tree of life. I don't know about you, but I believe the report. She believed the report. And because she believed the report, and I'm closing right here, it caused her faith to be activated. And it's not that we don't have faith, we just need to get it activated. See, we sitting on something that is very powerful. The Bible says that we have this treasure in earthen vessels. That the excellency of the power of God may rest within us. And when it tells me I got a treasure, if you have a treasure inside of you, don't you want to know what's in it? Her faith was there. It just needed to be activated. This began to propel her. And she began to move in great hope. Note also in verse 27, and it said, after she had heard about Jesus, she came, I like this right here, in the press. In other words, there were some people around. Keep in mind, all of these people around. She wanted to get to where Jesus was. Let me throw this in right here. Jesus was not there for her. When you read read the entire text,
Yes, right.
Jesus was on his way to Jairus' house.
That's right.
He was just passing through. And while he was on his way to Jairus' house, she remembered what she heard about Jesus. And because she remembered what she heard, she began to act upon what she had heard. The Bible said that there was a press. Can't you see this woman? 12 long years. And now she sees a breakthrough. And whenever you see your breakthrough, don't worry about the crowd. Just get to where Jesus is. Body racking with pain, weak and feeble. But she was not worried about the crowd. The only thing on her mind was, I need to get to Jesus. No one knew about her condition. Because if they'd have known about her condition, they would have stopped her in the crowd. And let me tell you this, my brothers and sisters, sometimes we talk too much. And we cut off our own blessing. Some things need to be between us and the Lord. Sometimes the only person that needs to know about our condition is Jesus. Can't you see her pressing her way through the crowd? And sometimes, my brothers and my sisters, it's hard in this life. And sometimes you're going to have to press your way. I know it's difficult sometimes, but press on, my brothers and my sisters. I know it's hard sometimes, but press on anyhow. She's pressing through the crowd. In her mind, she's saying, if I can just touch the hem of his garment. And the reason why she just wanted to touch the hem of his garment, because in her mind, she was thinking, if I touch him, he may think that I am ceremonially unclean. But my brothers and my sisters, don't ever call unclean if God have not called it unclean. Jesus, the Alpha and the Omega. Jesus, the beginning and the end. Jesus, the God of all power, stopped in his tracks and said, who touched me? See, when you walk out on faith, you will cause Jesus to react. He said, who touched me? The disciples said, Master, you see the crowd, and you ask who touched you. Jesus, being all God, yes, said, somebody touched me, because the virtue that went out of me. He called the woman forth, because now it was time for her to give a testimony. See, sometimes you can't hold it in. Sometimes you need to tell somebody a public issue or if it's a private issue, if you make your way to him, he will deal with your issue. Is there one this morning? I don't know what your issue is, but Jesus can handle it. Make your way like this woman through the crowd and touch Jesus and watch him work a miracle in your life. Regardless of what happened in her life, she did not take the position that she was broke, probably disgusted. But she didn't take that position. She got up every morning ready to meet the challenge. And I challenge you this morning, regardless of what the issue is, if God has allowed you to face another day, get ready. Stand up. Stand up in Jesus and meet the challenge. Is there one?
That